That was awesome. That was f***ing awesome.
That was f***ing awesome. The Buccaneers get one, 21-16, and the Buccaneers prevail over the Seattle Seahawks in the Munich, or München, as we say in Germany. We won the game. That's all that matters. A little bit more that I wanted to see from this team. I'm really pleased with what I saw. A little bit run heavy, but I'll take it because the run game was successful. I felt the trick play that we put in, that kind of went against us. Do what you do well. Like, don't get me wrong. We know that Brady was uncovered. There's a reason Brady's uncovered. He's not a wide receiver. He's not a viable wide receiver threat. All right, come on. We've seen that. We've seen this. That his version of the Philly Express. It doesn't work. And I believe I got our first guest, Mr. AJ Turnup. Mr. Buff Curry's in the house, brother.
What it do? What it do? We got the shit done. We got it done. We got it done.
It wasn't enough, though, was it?
No. Byron got to go. After that asinine play
he's going to stay, though. We both know this.
I know he's going to stay. He's going to stay due to the fact that they won. That is the only thing that is keeping him there. But
I will disagree with you a little bit. Just a little bit.
Okay.
Because there were plays that were beautiful. I want to see more of that. Where's that? Look, the only reason this Bucs team got going on offense was because they could run the football. When they can't run the football, that's when he stumped. They ran the football. They got, over 130 yards running the football, and they were lethal. I wouldn't say lethal. Lethal is not a good word to
effective.
Use. They were effective running the football, which opened up the passing game. Mike Evans had a quiet game. Chris Godwin went off a little bit more, and little Scotty Miller's still showing more. And this is the thing I'm seeing. He's not just going vertical down the field. He's got in-breaking routes. He's got out-breaking routes. He's doing more with his footwork, and it's really starting to show. And it's shown when people were, pardon me, talking crap about him, basically saying he's not good enough for this football team. And someone like Tyler Johnson, who had a better preseason than him, was like, well, yeah, but who's got the chemistry with Tom Brady? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I've got to do this show outside my house because the noise in my house is so loud that it's not because of the Bucs win. I'd like to turn around to you all and say it's because of the Bucs win. My daughter's ecstatic the Bucs won. We spent most of the day, but my son is too busy wanting to ride my daughter like a horse because he thinks that's hilarious. But they're just fighting and getting it through. So we're going to do game night. I've got about 17% battery, but my boy Buff Curry will take over when I bow out. But hopefully battery holds. We'll see. And that's why I'm out on my front porch. It is what it is. But it was fun to watch. That was a fun game to watch. That was probably the most complete game I've seen the Buccaneers play in a while.
Yeah.
You know, and that's sad that we're in week 9.
Yeah.
That's the first and I wouldn't even say that's a great game. It was more of a complete game.
Yeah.
Like everything worked. If you took away the stupid trick play that should never have happened, just because Tom Brady's wide open doesn't mean you should throw him the football. There's a reason he's wide open. No one sees him as a threat.
And a 45-year-old
he's not known for his hands. You know what I'm saying?
And my thing is, you know what? That play might have worked if you would have put maybe Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Scotty Miller, someone who can create separation. It was, look at it like this. It was doomed from the beginning. First of all, Tom Brady fell. First, he's not.
That turf doesn't look like he can take a good cleat, though.
No, he's not a physical guy. So the play calling wasn't bad. But what do I always say about Byron? You don't put your players in the best position to succeed. Why in God's name do you put Tom Brady on anybody?
It's because he was open. That's the only reason. I think that's the only reason.
With that being said,
but he wasn't open. This is why you pull that play up and get it out there, and everyone's like, okay. And then you see him covered, and then what do? You You either go to a timeout or you check it down to somebody else. He can direct snap and run the ball straight ahead. He doesn't need to throw it. You only throw it when it's there. Like if I see Tom Brady was unmarked on the first one, that there was no one near him. They didn't even look at him. They were probably thought he's being subbed. I don't know what the Seattle Seahawks were thinking when they saw him lining up as a wide receiver. I would still put somebody on them regardless.
Yeah.
That you don't play to position, you play to formation.
Yes.
So that was shame on them, but kind of helped them out the second time because we bit on that formation, and then all of a sudden we're going, oh yeah, well it's going to be there for Tom ain't going to do that.
No,
come on,
and
let's live in the real world for 10 seconds. Tom Brady ain't completing that shit.
It's Tom Brady. I mean, his duty is to throw, not run. That's why I was pissed, and that's why I said he got arrogant, and I don't understand how Leftwich could get there. You have no room to be arrogant so early. And this is what pisses me off. If Byron really wanted to stick it to the Seahawks, this was a blowout game potential.
It was possible. Yes. I mean, if they didn't kneel down, that was probably going to be a touchdown.
Exactly.
And if you look at the drive where the interception happened with Tom Brady tripping and what have you, which I don't agree with the tripping call because he just rolled. I mean, can't prove shit. The guy just rolled, in my opinion. But that's near here nor there. The fact of the matter is that was a TD drive. That should have been a TD drive. If anything, you walk away with 3 points minimum, and then you're out of sight. You're forcing them to take 2-pointers all the time because that was the killer. This is when coaching kind of comes into it, is where you kind of make those decisions. Now, I remember you saying last week about, and I disagreed with you on it, and that's fine because, hey, we all wear different hats and we all have different opinions, and that's what makes it all beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you saying that you wanted coach to challenge the call of the punt, and I was like, "Yeah, but we wouldn't have had that timeout in our back pocket." So it all goes to show. But in this case, there was nothing. It was a bum play call. Do what got you there in the first place, because what got you there in the first place got you there. That ain't gonna change. That won't change. You're absolutely right in the arrogant side of it, because it's 100% arrogant, because you're thinking, oh yeah, they're not going to respect us. I was like, but it's Tom Brady. He's not known for
Lamar Jackson. It's not Lamar Jackson. It's not Ben Roethlisberger. It's not. Tom Brady has never been a physical specimen.
We saw when they did that Philly special. They copied the Philly special, and it was poor. Yeah,
exactly. And it doesn't work.
Learn the lesson.
Learn the lesson. Tom Brady has never been. His greatness does not come with his physical ability. It comes with this and his drive. That's what I was saying, Byron. That was disrespectful, because you thought the game was over before it even. You can't do that. If a real team, let me tell you this, I'm so happy the Bucs got the win, but overall, I was pissed, because this was a game where if you want to show that this team is truly ready, you blow out a team like this. Like you always say, this was the first time in a long time I seen the defense on their heels. You called it. The defense did not know what to do, and you're in their head. Did you see old boy yelling at his defense of team on the Seahawks? That made me so happy, because that's what, like you always say, Slick, when a defense has to do this, when they have to look around, you got them beat. And this is the first time in a long time Byron had a defensive team beat, and he still didn't take advantage. I knew his game plan. His game plan was to drain the clock, and the defense is going to feast. But at the end of the day, what did Carroll do in the second half? He adjusted.
He did.
He adjusted.
Buff, I gotta cut you off, AJ, because we got our first guest. Our first guest is Mr. Big Games, James Kander, former defensive tackle for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Is coming on our humble show and is going to talk his stuff.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, Big Game James. How's it going, brother?
Hey, James.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Not too bad.
We won. That's what's beautiful.
Exactly. Hey, I had to rock it proud today. I feel you.
Absolutely. I mean,
from a defensive standpoint, James, give me a letter grade.
You know, it's funny. Don't judge me and hate me. I had to get him to go to church, so I was following everything on the on the ticker and stream today. I couldn't even. My internet was going in and out. I couldn't even get the game to watch it. I was mad. I was working the parking lot, but just seeing the score and what was going on early, but before those 2 late touchdowns in the fourth quarter, finally it looked like they played more as a team to get things going on page. And right now, with this team is 1 week at a time. We can't even look ahead at the schedule. Nothing. Every week we take the field. It's just like, hey, let's just pray that we got we're gonna execute enough this week to win, and that's what happened today. And you got to take head out because Seattle's been playing decent football. That run game's been pretty good, averaging 5.2 yards a carry, getting it done. Geno Smith's been taking care of the ball. So coming into this game, I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. I called the win, but I don't know how much I believed it until it happened.
I'll tell you what, watching that game when we held them to 3 point, a goose egg at the half, I was like, okay, now we're vibing. If this Buccaneers football team can replicate what they did in the first half in the second, 28, we could be talking of a different game. Right. We could be talking that Byron's kind of fixed a few things. Look, the reason the Bucs were successful is because they ran the football and they were successful with running the football.
I know. Rashad White, 105 yards a day. I was like, okay, where's this been?
Well, he was explosive. One thing that he did better, I will say, he hit them holes. Now, Slick, did he or did not? He was hitting them holes. And when I'm gonna tell you this, James, when a tackle, he knew his vision, I will say, was on point today. So when he saw that there was no opening on the outside, he ran to the inside. He picked up what he needed to pick that was necessary.
The run game was a bit more creative because really we tend to run down the A's, and if we don't run down the A's, it's only because a running back has seen a different lane and has moved. It's not by design. So I saw a bit more creativity from Byron in the run game, and that really showed through. So I'm kind of pleased with that from him. Yeah. What I want to see is a little bit more consistent. We ran really heavy when we didn't need to. There were times where we could probably lean on the pass a little bit more, but that's fine. Look, at the end of the day, we got what we got out of it. And I'd say for me, the only thing I would really put on Byron Leftwich is that stupid trick play that he went to a second time. Just don't try that shit. Trick plays in NFL seldom work.
My phone was blowing up when that house. Like, what happened? So I got home and pulled it up. I'm just shaking my head like a throwback.
James, you played the game. I ain't gonna lie, James. You would have at least said something to one of the coaches, like, Coach, what's up, man? What you doing?
Because a lot of times with trick play, one is cool. You go back again, it makes you really feel like you're desperate to have some success. So it's like, come on, man, we don't need to do that.
We weren't desperate. Do what you
exactly. So it's like, dude's been working, And I heard you guys talk when I first came in the green room, like, if you got something working, you're gonna go to a guy who
can't play wide receiver to a guy who no one's ever seen play quarterback and expect them to excel. I'm not saying Leonard Fournette can't throw a football.
Fournette turned into Jameis on that one. I'm like, dude, why would you throw that? You either throw it away
to me, that's direct snap, run it up. That's an RPO all day for me. I'm just going to go through a couple of comments. We only got a couple. So Jeff Olson gives it the old yo. And my wife, bless her, the Slick fan club and the kids are watching. So it's always nice. They're right behind me right now. They make so much freaking noise that I can't be in the room with them because they'll probably be pandemonium. So my battery will die eventually. And my boy AJ will have to take over the show. I'm on 14% and we're still fighting. But I'm real pleased that the Buccaneers came out here and got the win. They looked like they wanted it, and that's something that I've not seen from this team for a couple of weeks. I saw it last week, but you look at a couple of other games, especially the Carolina games, we looked flat. We did not look flat. We wanted that game.
Yeah.
And the Buccaneers seem to be on track from a mental point of view. I just want the play calling to kind of echo, from an offensive standpoint, echo what they're doing. Let's abuse their DBs with some outbreakers. Let's play with we don't use the width of the field. We use the length of the field. And that's fine. But at the same time, there's more space. Exploit the space. When you're on the other hash, that other side is space galore. Use it.
Now, Slick, James, and now you remember, James, you can attest to this. Now, you always said crossing routes is extremely hard as a defensive-minded guy.
Yes, sir.
On the first touchdown play, what does Julio score on? A shallow crossing route. Now, let me ask you this. If you see that that's working, the Seahawks they fell flat on that.
Mm-hmm.
You already know, James, as if you see that's working, what would you tell your coach in that situation? And you're a defensive guy, so you know.
I'm going to go up to him and say, give me that again, coach. Give me that again, coach.
You know Julio and the receivers had to say, is there all day. Let's take advantage of it. And the good thing is also just put an asterisk by that play on your sheet and just know when you see that certain defense come up again, check to it, switch to it, and continue to run it until they can stop it. Like you said, everyone wants to go vertical. It's hard to defend 52 yards wide also.
Yes, sir.
Depending on where you are and how you're going. It's a long time to ask, especially if you were on a shallow cross and you got to ask a linebacker to pick up and try to carry that route all the way to the side. That's hard to do. So exploit it and go ahead. And I'm glad. I was like, Julio what?
You're hearing it from a professional, guys. This man knows the game. And that's what I said.
I like what you said there, Big James, because you said Julio who, and we have had the Loch Ness Monster has been sighted. The Yeti has been sighted. We have found Bigfoot, and he scored a touchdown for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because that's how rare it is to have seen. And we got a little bit of vintage of him. That was in awe of what he has been like. And hopefully he can recapture what that is. Because right now, we need every hand on frickin' deck, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't need old school Julio, but I need a version in between that can be accountable and play and be there when we need to see him on the field to get us those catches. Because think about it, and I did it on my short the other day on my game preview yesterday. We know Mike Evans is the favorite target right now, Tom Brady. Teams are going to come in and try to take that away. So who's going to be that next piece? I like the way Cade Otton's been playing lately. I need to get him worked in. Rashad White can actually catch the ball out the backfield as well. So if we can get things like that going. But now if Julio can just contribute, Godwin got in the end zone today. That's a good thing. But coming in, everyone already knew like Mike Evans had the most targets for the last 5 weeks in the NFL from, coming from his quarterback. So, teams are going to come in and try to take him away. What are you going to do to exploit other matchups? And if Julio can give us just a little bit it'll help out a lot because now you're going to have to open things back up. You won't be able to double team to try to take Evans out of the game.
James, tell us where we can find you because you do your own thing. He does Big Game Sports Buzz. He's a presenter. He does his social media stuff. Tell us a little bit more what you do because not everyone is what you do. So this is our man, former defensive tackle of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tell us what you do, brother.
So I got Big Game Entertainment, which my show is Big Game Sports Buzz, which is a variety sports show. We cover everything from NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, whatever's going on in the week. If it's hot in sports, we're going to talk about it. And then off of that, I also do Games Pewter Perspective, which is just basically my breakdown of what I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to do that week going into the game and also the outcome of a game. So I usually try to drop 2 of those a week. And then we got the Sports Chop Shop, which is like basically the black man version of the barbershop where everybody just get together, talk crazy, talk smack, represent their teams, what's going on in sports, in the world, and even entertainment. So, and all of that's on my YouTube channel on Big Game Sports Buzz and also my Big Game Entertainment channel. And then you can catch me on Twitter at BG Sports Buzz or at JCan97. And also I got the Facebook page as well. So, I'm out there, I'm accessible, and I'm one of those guys, man. I played the game, I love the game, but at the same time, I love interacting with people. I love interacting with people who love the game. Not everyone's been blessed to be in the locker room, but a lot of people have blessed me with their support and their love for so long in my life. I always try to kick it back and give it back to everyone.
You got 1,000 as well, didn't you?
I just hit 1,000 a little over a week ago, and I appreciate that push. And one of my brothers who does an Atlanta Falcons show had me on the NFC South Roundtable that he does on Low Country Sports.
Yeah.
And I picked up a whole bunch of fans from that night, just kind of giving my insight and my breakdown on, what I thought would go into not just the Buccaneers, but just the whole division right now. Because I teased the NFC East last year, and I've been real quiet this year because the NFC South has been looking like the poop emoji.
James, don't be quiet, man. Look, The NFC East is a front. You know this. Name one team in the NFC East that's a threat to the Bucs. We're not worried about Jalen Hurts. We got his number this year. I know they're a little different this year, but we're not worried about him. We got Dak Prescott.
But that defense is solid in Philly. That's the one thing, Buff Curry, that get me a little bit, man. Like Philly's defense can carry them far in the play. But I told everybody, I said, man, I'm not hitting the panic button yet. And I asked the question several times. One game at a time. The way our division is, we can still win this division. And I told my buddy, my co-host on Big Game Sports Buzz is a Cowboys fan. I said, man, y'all gonna have this great record. You're gonna come in second in your division. You're gonna end up coming to Tampa for the playoff game, and we might be a little bit better than 500. We still gonna tap that ass because that's what we do to the Cowgirls. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens. That's what goes down. So no one is going to see us at that time of year. Because like I said, no matter how bad it is, we hope Jensen will probably be back then. Some more guys will be healthier.
Is great. But what we do in the next 6 weeks, in once we hit December, that's when it hit that mid-December point, that like 12th of December point. That's when we got to hit. Because obviously we got that extra game that carries further into January. Right. So we kind of got two games in January technically. I don't know.
We have two.
A game and a half or something like that. But you hit that midpoint in December, and you walk away with 4 wins. You walk away with 4 wins. You're going into that thing hot. You're going to be hard to beat. Teams that stumble out the blocks will struggle. There are a lot of teams that are divisional, I think the best way of putting it, potential divisional champions who don't have playoff experience. Now, don't get me wrong, the Buccaneers won a Super Bowl off no playoff experience except for their quarterback and a few other players. There are teams being led by guys who have never been in the playoffs, who never won anything, and it's difficult to do because the playoffs are a different monster. The Buccaneers get to go into the playoffs red hot if they get to that point. We're way far away from that now, but this was a step forward. This was a big step forward for us. We beat a team that's better on paper than us. Well, on paper in the sense of their record's better than us. We beat them. That should I hope to see that this ignites the team. We get a bye week, get a few things cleaned up. Let's get that playbook cleaned up. Let's get some execution cleaned up, and let's go into the next game all guns a-blazing.
Amen.
For real. And it's 1 week at a time. It really is. And having this bye week a little bit late past the midway point in the season is going to, I think, prove to help a little bit, get people back, legs back. And a lot of people you got to realize a bye week is a bye from a game. You can still get some good quality work in during that week. And just over that weekend, they usually give you that Friday through the weekend off, and you come back and get ready to go that Monday for your next week's game. So I'm hoping, Todd Bowles takes advantage of this time, get some good work in, the coaches can refresh, and put a game plan together that, we can go out and execute.
Now, that's a great question that you just said. Now, I'm sure when you go back and watch the game, James, you're going to, you'll make your assessment. And Slick, this is for both of you. If you are the Glazers and you're Jason Light and you see what Byron did, we're not going to fire him. Like you said, Slick, we won the game and he did certain things, but do you give him, if both of you, do you give him do you put it down to him like, hey, look, you're week to week. I understand that you won this game. I am happy, but you are a week-to-week guy. We need to see improvement. If not, you are replaceable and you will be gone if this offense – is that the approach that should be taken to Byron from this point?
I'd like to answer this one just for one reason only, because I've got 4% of my battery, so I'm going to have to bow out straight after I answer this question. So I do apologize, boys, because I can't charge while I'm outside, unfortunately. It is what it is. I would turn around to Byron and say, look, you won the game. You showed something. You gave us a little bit. You gave us some chip in that vanilla ice cream. Give me some toffee. Give me some caramel. Give me some flavor, because you gave us something. We want more of it. Buccaneers fans are craving it. If I'm hoping to God they're holding back this playbook, because at the end of the day, they should be, because this should not be the playbook that we're playing with right now. We have to be better than this. There's no way on earth we can play this. We can't keep beating teams this way. It's not sustainable in the future. Better teams will put us under. we went against a team that went against our strength. Our strength is against the run. Yes, the run has been weaker in the past, but that was fixed as soon as Hakeem Nicks walked back into that team. It got better. That run defense has been better. The Buccaneers will go against teams who can pass the ball just as well as they can run the ball, and they will beat the Buccaneers until they figure out that they can actually go blow for blow with a team. When you can round out, like, my battery's done, guys. I gotta go. I'm really sorry. I don't want it to ruin the show.
No
so
problem,
I catch you guys out.
We got you. We got you.
See you guys.
No
Much
problem.
appreciated.
No problem. No problem. Thank you, Slick. And shout out to Slick again. Once again, an amazing guy. So now, James, that he gave his answer. What is your answer? Again, you're Jason Light and the Glazers. What do you tell Byron?
Well, I think that anything they're doing there, they're communicating it through Todd Bowles. And honestly, I think it's, like you said, it's a week-to-week basis. But at the same time, I believe he's calling to what he has available to him, which he knows his interior run game is a little bit different because the line is beat up on the inside, right? So I honestly think you let him make it through this season. I don't think a decision really needs to be made until the season is done.
Okay.
See how you come back healthy, address your off-season issues, the older pieces on the team, your free agents, or whatever else, draft. And I think it needs to start from the top down. Bowles needs to put himself in the head coaching position and find a guy that he trusts to run his defense and name a defensive coordinator first. Figure out if Byron's going to be that guy to be your offensive coordinator, or is someone going to come hire him? Me personally, I think that he should have taken the job last year. I don't think he's going to be as high out there on the market this year because of how the offense has looked. But we do know that some of it is from personnel issues. But he's cooled off. He's cooled off a lot right now. But I think you take it week by week. If things continue to go okay, I don't think that you have to pull the trigger to make a move yet. And I don't think the Glazers need to, because one thing that's hard to do is to go in and do your job and feel like you're looking over your shoulder. He's probably already doing it anyway, but don't put him in a position where he's going to get even more uptight, more tense, and screw up the play calling even more. Let him do his job. Because at the end of the day, the GM, like Jason, like, he knows what he's going to do, and he knows how he's going to communicate that to Todd, to have Todd, hey man, I hate it. It's going down. Because look how things just went down to Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago. Mr. Jim Irsay was like, "This how we gonna do this?" Yeah. And it came first. Frank Wright went, "All right, man, I got to fire you." He had to fire his offensive coordinator. And then a week later, he was gone. It was like, "Oops, it didn't help." It didn't help. But you missed on 3 quarterbacks. They gonna send you back.
Oh, absolutely. So. You're right. You're right, and that's what I'm saying. I like, you're right, but I do want Byron. For me personally, if I'm an owner, I'm glad you won, but I want him to understand. I want you to keep that fire. Yeah. I don't want him to be comfortable, because you've played the game. You've seen guys and coaches where when they're comfortable, they call safe things that keep them where it's like, "Hey guys, I'm doing what I need to do." I want Byron to be hungry. True. This is a game where it's like, "Okay, guys, we did what we needed to do. Now let's future." Because you watch the game, I'm sure as a defensive guy, you're gonna go, "Wow." If you watch this game again, my man, you're gonna say there's no excuse that the Bucs should have not blown them out.
Got you.
That play call that Byron did, had he just stuck to the script and kept doing what he did, the Bucs would have got a touchdown. You want Geno Smith. Like, we like the comeback game. We love that Geno Smith. But as a defensive guy, you ain't worried about Geno like shredding you. He ain't on no Peyton Manning level. Right. Exactly. So if you're a defensive minded coach and you know that they're going to pass, what formation defense are you going to play? Are you going to play cushion, or are you going to play man and mix it up?
I'm gonna mix it up because I'm gonna pin my ears back. Hopefully, my line can get after him, hit over a couple of blitzes, and put the pressure. Make Geno Smith make those tough throws. And something you said that made sense, Buff. Byron's got to have his own fire. Like, if his job is to go out and be a head coach, that should be all the motivation in the world. Like, to me, you don't need to get threatened to maybe you do, but you shouldn't have to be threatened. Amen. By your GM and your ownership to, "Hey man, keep it. You gotta get this together. It's too vanilla." And to motivate all your motivation should be is like, I want to be that next great young coach, showing what I can do. He's got to call games like that.
Yes,
And
sir.
he tries. I really wish sometimes I could be a fly on the wall at one Buck place to see what the hell is going on. I want to hear it sometimes. I'm just like, man, I wish I could just get back down to Tampa real quick and just hide behind a potted plant and listen to what the hell is being said, because we're seeing a product on the field, but yet the minds in that room with what they have at collected talent. Something's missing in the communication and between the communication and the execution. Something's just missing.
No, and I agree with you, because if you go back to this game, there were opportunities where the Buccaneers, they could have taken this game to another level where they blow this team out. And that's what I'm saying. For you, when you have a defense hesitating, that's when you strike. You never want to have a defensive opponent feel like there's a way to get back in this game. I know if you saw the end of the game, I can't blame Byron on this one. This was Brady. What do you say as a player to your guy? Like, hey, why? This is what happened. Brady was trying to get the ball out so quick. He didn't realize the middle linebacker was right there, and he picked him off because I think he was targeting Evans. Now, that's why I say this. It's not all on Byron, but Brady at that point, that was Brady. That's bad football. You can't always try to get the ball out quick. Let the plays progress. You have a Mike Evans, a Julio, and you already said it. If you do crossing routes or a spread, it's hard to defend. Why do you think Leftwich is so hell bent on running the ball?
Man, well, Brady's been playing the game long enough to know what his read should be and how it should come out. So to panic, to try to speed it up there, you got to make the right read. It's not always going to be quick. You're right. The panic, I don't know. I don't really just don't have an answer for it. You stop thinking about it, look like, what the hell is going on? Why? Better game management again. But I think, honestly, they jump out 14 at halftime, right? You got a lead going. Not to the fourth quarter, you let them get on the board to get into it. Maybe they felt it slipping away and went panic mode just a little bit because it got closer than they wanted it to. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You don't, and it's the same thing. Think back to that Atlanta Falcons game.
Yes.
They changed late, but yet why? Everything was working good. There was no need to get conservative and panic. Keep executing the plan that you have in place because it was working. Same thing going into today. It was working. Just do what you need to do. Take out the trickery. Call the plays you need to, and execute it so everybody be fine and ready to go.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree. And that's where I feel like at this point, the Bucs, you're in no position. Why is it, and you've played in the league, and I want to ask you, why do certain coaches, when they feel like they have maybe a 2-possession lead, why do most coaches like to play we just want to burn the clock mode? I don't like to say, put your foot on the gas and let's take this team out. In your opinion, why do you feel like they don't do that?
I hate that. I think because old rule of thumb, and I say old rule of thumb, it is funny I say that now, I'm feeling old, like an old head. But the old rule of thumb used to be for some coordinators, once you got a 2-point lead, that would usually carry you to a win. Some people would say 14 to 21 point lead is usually enough to get you out with the win if you take care of the football. So, old school, old rule of thought was I don't have to be as aggressive because I've given myself enough to carry out my conservative game plan to win. And this new modern football, the way players are called, the way it's designed, how fast guys are, the way they throw the ball, you cannot get conservative. That way of thinking will get you beat. Mm-hmm. But, you still got them old mindsets and those trees, trickled out throughout the league, right?
Right.
So it's like, Level is not an old coach, but he may have learned some old ways from an older person to, kind of, and sometimes more defensive coaches, if they rely on their defense, they'll get a little bit more conservative. And so, in that headset, you might hear a play call, and they might talk about like, no, we're not doing that. Let's scale it back a little bit. You think like, why? And why need to scale it back? We can execute this play, but the old way of thinking will really rewrite it sometimes. And next thing you know, you catch yourself like you don't get the first down, you don't convert, you miss a field goal, you don't get in the end zone, you throw the interception, you let a team inch back into a game. And that's the thing with the NFL. The game is never over till it's over. Your defense could be playing great, but hell, the other team can score on defense too. So if your offense mess up and they get the ball back, you put your defense in a bad situation, or the pick sixes, or things like that happen. But that old rule of football, that old thought process, it was like, all right, we got this 14-point lead. We're gonna get a little bit more conservative. They just got to change their mindset with that, because I love Coach Dundee to death, but Coach Dundee used to get conservative when we got go.
Right.
Now that defense was way different too. Now you know what I'm saying? You could fall back on your defense a little bit more when you got John Lynch and Rondé Barber in the secondary and Derrick Brooks as a linebacker and Sapp and Simeon Rice getting after the front. Right? You can do that. But still, there's certain times it's like we still need to, pin these ears back and go kill them.
I agree. No, you're right. Killer instinct. You think Coach Belichick let up? If in Coach Belichick mind, being up 14, he'd be like, "Why ain't you up 21?"
Right. Exactly.
Coaches like that are like a Saban and all them. Why are we up 28-0? See, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you. You got to be hungrier. Like you said, that was Dungy's downfall. Eventually, the Glazers were like, hey, we know what you can do on defense, but what are you going to do with the offense? We need to score. We need to put teams away. And that's what I think happened, because I was on Twitter and I was telling the guy, hey, this is why you need to play certain coverages, because your defense is going to get tired. If you look at the second half of this game, James, what they started to do, they knew they're not running the ball. They already said we're escaping that. We're going to do dink and dunks, give what the defense is giving us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sole believer on it. I play man until you beat me out of it. Now, when you beat me out of it, then I'll adjust. But you're not going to even get 2 yards, because you already know as a defensive player, if your corner maybe is like 6 foot but only $140, do you think he's going to make a solid tackle on a guy of a Metcalf?
No.
Right. So you already putting yourself in a bad position. And if you look at the end of the second half, every touchdown they scored on, you know who they were picking on? Sean Murphy Bunting. So they found their weakness. And no disrespect to him, but you've seen the game as a defensive guy. If you know that somebody's getting picked on, that's where you got to switch it up. You don't put him in the same position, because I feel like every time he got scored on, he was playing a cushion coverage. At least man is just the simple, hey, if he beats you, he beats you. If he doesn't, at least you can disrupt the timing.
Right.
Like, how do you, again, for you in the red zone, are you calling zones or are you calling man?
Like I said, it all depends, you know what I mean, on who's available to me, who's healthy, and if we can get it done. I like big physical corners and that can press and jam at the line, especially in that red zone. You don't have a lot of space. So you need to make it as tight and hard for that receiver as possible. Shallow, it's hard, because even coaching, high school kids now and stuff, you telling them, hey man, what are you doing lining up there? Do you see where the ball is? It's on the 2-yard line. Now your heels got to be on the goal line. You can't be in the end zone or you're beat already. It makes it a lot tougher. But and as much as Bowles likes to blitz, you would think that way they would play man a little bit more. But there's zero. But that's me. Yeah, I would try to lock it up a little bit more.
Right. And if you're on defense for linebackers, if I'm just asking you, would you move Devin White around like the way the Cowboys do Micah Parsons?
But he doesn't have the same skill set. I'm not trying to be funny, man. I've been one of those guys that defended Devin White for a while until it got to a point where I was like, after I saw that damn Thursday night game against Baltimore, I did the Where's Waldo post. If you go back and look at my Twitter account, I got the picture of Waldo on the back and Devin White on there. Like, what the hell is going on? Because he just disappeared. He gets after, he's smart. I mean, usually downhill, scrapes better. Micah Parsons is a straight up freak. Like, if you see this guy play, to be able to put his hand down, he can play all 3 linebacker positions too. He can put Mike, Sam, Will, then you can put him down the defensive end and he can get after it. Devin White is talented. Devin White is an athlete. He doesn't have that same skill set though as Micah Parsons. And when I, not to change it to a Cowboys show, when the Cowboys drafted him, I was like, hey, he did good at Penn State, but I don't know where he fits with their defense at the time. And then when they got your boy, the coordinator, was Quinn from Atlanta, when they got the right coordinator to work with the right piece. And that's what that defense is doing well right now with the pieces they have. They put them in the right spots to make the plays. And that's kind of that's why I want Todd Bowles to get something solid so you can get that coordinator to really work with the pieces you have to make that defense fit our personnel.
I hear you on that. And okay, so in your opinion, yeah, they haven't done it because you're saying basically they seen what he can do and they're saying, hey, we love you, Devin, but this is what you can do best. This is what
Right.
you because if you saw him in the blitz, the way he got Geno, oh man. Geno, I'm gonna tell you what. That's why I told people this, James. I like the comeback story. It's cute, but
He said cute.
it is cute because you know how it is.
Yeah.
Geno's coming back. He did get done dirty in New Jersey, in New York.
New York, yeah.
But let's be real. There's a lot of plays. If you go back and look at the game, there's a reason why Geno Smith is who he is. There was one play in particular that to me killed their drive. It was a 3rd and short. He runs it. He can literally moonwalk in there, and it's a first down. And he tries to throw it. That's what killed it. You already know.
So the decision making of Geno, it kind of got them today. And I say that too. Comeback story, field goal stories are great. Because all the negative attention he got, even from his draft night stuff, how it went down with him. I heard he won a good locker room guy for some people. You know, the one linebacker punched him for standing him up for doing the youth football camp, the whole nine. There's so many Geno Smith stories out there.
Yeah.
And you're right. And you break down all 32 quarterbacks across this NFL, you just got to hope that you can get sometimes some guy to manage. And I think the Seahawks are happy because when they wrote Russell Wilson off, they never really had a full backup plan to what they were going to do at the quarterback position. They can say what they want to. They didn't have a full-fledged plan. No. Even going into the first couple of weeks, Geno did enough. They didn't think Geno was going to start coming out of camp. I don't care what anyone in Seattle's organization said. Right. They can say it now because before this week, they were 6-3, and it looked, we knew the whole time he was good. He was going to be right. You didn't. You Drew Lock, y'all were always one of the ones in trade talks, but knew you didn't know where to go with it because you didn't know who would trade with you within your division or, even within the conference and where you could go find someone else. There's a lot of names that came up. And next thing you know, it was like, we'll just wait it out and see. You got lucky. Now, certain games, certain defenses are going to show you, damn, this is why we were looking early on in the season to get another quarterback. Especially when Penny got hurt. They got lucky that Walker, the new young running back they have that's filling in is okay and was averaging 5.2 yards a carry until today. Mm-hmm. That's how they're going to have to get by. Geno, you can say they can go win their division, get to the playoffs. I still don't think that he's that guy they're looking to bring back next year or long term. Right. Extend him. That's just like I said. They'll say all the right things because going into this week they're 6-3 and they're ahead of atop of the NFC West. But I still don't think that he's their long term plan.
No, and I agree with you. You watched the game, James. How many times have we seen players with that 1 year wonder where we're like, wow, that's nice, and then players adjust and say, okay, this is what he does, and the next season they come back and they just garbage. And that's what I feel about Geno. We like this comeback story. It's a nice little writing, but we know when players adjust, when defenses adjust, it is what it is. His decision making, like you said, it killed them this drive. Like when he tried to do that, I don't know if there was coaching on that call, but there's a call where he tried to do a QB draw, and that's where Devin White got that strip from him. Mm-hmm. That was a terrible call. If you see that the Bucs defense is playing cushion, why don't you take advantage of that? And that's where, as you said, like, why don't you take advantage of that? It's like, let me ask you this.
And he's got to be able to audible out that situation. That's where you need your quarterback to see, make those reads, see what that backer is, and, go to your second or third play. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have something ready for that. Can he do that and make those reads?
Nope.
I don't know. I'm not going to debate. Nope. But at the same time, it don't look like
no. If you go back and watch this game today, Geno, if he really wanted to, he could have beaten the Bucs bad, but he is still Geno Smith. We like Geno. We want him to be good, but you already know at best he can play at his peak above average. He's not the guy that's going to destroy you because he never took most deep shots, and he was a cautious. This is where you know this. If coaches believe in you, the coaches are going to back you. I feel like this was the game where coaching got Geno super far, but when it came down to it for him to adjust and make his own decisions, he's not what you say a Brady or elite quarterbacks would do.
Right.
Isn't there a difference between when the coaching backs you up, oh, I got it, coach got me, instead of a player saying, no, I got it, coach? Isn't there a big difference?
Yeah, it's a difference. There's a difference in that, and you see it, and and that's why I said if you go back and if we break down quarterbacks across the league, that's why you got to tip your hat when you got a good one and take advantage of it, because there's a lot of guys you miss on, or there's a lot of guys you got to go get just to fit and help you hold on to your season until you can find that one. You know what I mean? Like I said, he's the quarterback. And my partner Jay Styles always like to call him. He's that bridge quarterback.
Yeah,
he's that bridge of between the right now and the future. And so you best believe they out there looking to scouring the pavement, because Pete Carroll Day is a number. I don't know how much longer he's going to want to coach or do it. And the defense is depleted and fallen off since the Legion of Boom days and when they won championships. So they got a lot of work to do, but
agreed.
The hell with them. We won that today.
And you called it. It's one of those things where coaches nowadays, you can't live off the past. It's a what have you done for me lately league. Okay, we love that. That was beautiful. Like you said with Carroll. Legion of Boom was like what, 2014?
Yeah, it's been a minute now. You saw the thing about like, damn, that's almost 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Jesus.
It's like, what are you going to do to get your team to the next level?
Right.
And Geno Smith is not this. We already know. Let's just say the best case scenario for them, they win a division. We know they get to the playoffs, they're getting smacked by somebody. It's like we don't see that. Remember, people, I'm gonna give you this. Dan Orlovsky, you should laugh at him. He thought Geno was going to have an elite game and he was going to kill us. I'm sitting here at Dan. I'm like, Dan
Orlovsky drives me crazy, because if you ever listen to Dan Orlovsky talk, now he's very knowledgeable of the game of football. Mm-hmm. That part I'm never going to discredit him on. Mm-hmm. But if you were someone that just started following the game of football and you listen to him talk, you would be going back and searching NFL record books thinking that this guy is like a 5-time world champion and going to get a gold jacket, one day in Canton, Ohio.
Yeah.
We remember Dan Orlovsky days in Detroit. And even though I know he played King of Tampa was a back and forth.
Yeah.
He was a guy that people love to give chances to. So for him to break down some of the things he sees in certain people, sometimes I crack up and laugh. I'm like, come on, dog, you really don't. And that's why I love like when Marcus Spears gives him the business and like, come on, man, that's not true, man. Because like you got to hit him with the reality sometimes, because he's trying to make a point for something that's not, really there.
Right. It's like, Dan, we love you, but let's be real. I'd rather listen to Sean King before I listen to Dan Orlovsky. It's like, I love you. Like Dan, you were nice, but the way that he was overhyping it, he thought that Geno Smith was going to shred this defense. Well, they're not good in the zone. It's like, well, wait a minute. The Bucs didn't play a lot of zone. The only time they did was the second half. But even still, the Bucs defense got it done. You're right. Commentators just got to realize, in my opinion, they don't watch the full game. They watch highlights and then they make their own, Now,
some of them do. Some of them do. Some of them. Most of the time, when you're there in studio, they got a green room set up for them. You go and you're watching the games. They got different games set up you're watching. So when you go back to break it down, you've actually seen what's going on. But at the same time, it's how many games going on at once. You got to try to break down and watch all of them before you come back and give you analysis on what's going on. And every announcer, even me, people are biased with who they like and what they want to narrate. We kind of control the narrative. If I want to go tell you, Bobby Jimmy's the next best second coming of Tom Brady, we need to watch out for him. I can try to sell you on that. Then also you see Bobby Jimmy play like, oh, what the. Man, he tripping. How you gonna say he can do this, that? He can't do that. But if I see a little glimpse of something I think I like, I can try to sell that narrative, best way possible, man. And it gets crazy, it gets long. Orlovsky's one, like I said, he's one of those guys. So after a while, sometimes I hit the mute button, I'll change the channel because I'm like, man, you tripping. Like we've seen you play. We know the kind of player you were. Yeah, you were quarterback ahead of him, but he's like, I played it. They're coming up the little super at the bottom. Dan Orlovsky, 12-year NFL quarterback. Like, how many years was a successful starter? You know, and I tell you, like I said, not to discredit, because he does know the game and what he does a good job of when he's not biased in the situation. Right. He delivers and gives listeners and viewers a lot of knowledge of the position or how offensive plays break down. Like, I like when he breaks down just plays, because from a quarterback standpoint, he can really give you that great evaluation of the plays that's going on. But then sometimes from the personnel standpoint, I'm just like, come on, dog, go on.
You're like, all right, my man, did you watch the game or did you watch a highlight from Twitter? All right, well, I'm gonna hit you with this last question. The Bucs are going into the bye week. If you're Light and the Glazers and you're the coaching staff, what is your main message to this team? So we play Cleveland, I think, the next game. What is your message to this team?
I don't know if they said it, but I believe they've gone in and told this team, hey, guys, 1 week at a time, one game at a time. We can control our destiny. We know what we have to do. You know, your number one goal every season coming in is supposed to be win your division first. You win your division, you know, you make the playoffs. Once you make the playoffs, do what you need to do to try to, you know, get as far as you can, and your goal is a Super Bowl, right? We know that. So I think one thing you tell them, take care of your body, get your rest. Let's continue to focus, get better, get back to business. We're going to take it one game at a time and can control what we can control. We're still in the driver's seat to win our division, and we'll see what happens once we get to the playoffs. I think that's what you have to tell them. I don't think you need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to get scared. You don't need to panic. You pretty much got to let the guys know that they can get things done. We know the Shaq Bear blow was a big blow, that we don't have him. We know we need Joe Tryon Shanker to step it up. You know, 1 week we had 4 guys out the secondary out. I don't give a damn who you are. And I believe in backups. I was a backup, but you go into a game with 4 guys that's not used to playing an entire game. It's a different ball game. So I think the main thing they're gonna preach is health, take care of your body, and we're gonna control this thing one game at a time.
My man, thank you so much, James. You are, again, we have an actual player who knows the game and who played a game against the time where the team was under the coaching of Father Dungy. And again, we thank you for that. And tell us, where can we find you at so we can get NFL expertise?
Well, check me out on all social media. On Twitter is at BG Sports Buzz and at JCann, CANN97. My YouTube page is Big Game Sports Buzz and Big Game Entertainment. Check that out. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you check that out. Follow us, like, subscribe, hit that button. And I'm on Facebook too. Hey, you can hit me up on my personal Facebook, James Canada, and then also Big Game Sports Buzz on that. I'm as active as I can on my social media. Like I said, I drop my little nuggets of my opinion. I'm not gonna say expertise, because, like I said, I can try to control the narrative sometimes if I want. But I look at things from a different perspective. You know, being a defensive guy, you know, some people are like, I hate my quarterback. The offense sucks. But I got to break it down to you to why it works like that sometimes. You can't call the things you want to call if you don't have the people to execute and run the plays you want to run. So, you work within your scheme, and that's just kind of what I try to give back to people every time I put something out, man.
Yes, sir. Well, you guys heard it here at Bucs Report. Remember, we got to win, so this isn't a loss. This is just this is us critiquing, because remember, we're still Bucs fans. We're still players.
Right.
We love the game. We just want these guys to get to the best. But thanks a lot, James. Thank you for giving us your great expertise. We appreciate you guys, and that's a wrap for Bucs Report. Champagne. All right, take care, James. All right, Bucs fans, go Bucs.